Hello, everybody. My name is Billy Joe Ray Jim Bob, and I've got a story that I need to talk to you guys about. This is, as you can see, I've got some deformities, uh, and I'm tired of people making fun of me and pointing at me and laughing. So I'm hoping that this YouTube video will get the word out about why I'm like this, because there's guys out there that's suffering like me, suffering just like me. And I need to clarify, it's not my fault. It's just not my fault. But anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. And I'm going to tell you the story of how this happened. And I'm hoping that you guys will understand, because every time I tell the story, it's real emotional. So I'm going to do my best to tell you the story. But anyway, this happened back in the late 70s, early 80s. I can't specify because it's all top secret. I might even get in trouble for what I'm talking about. But anyway, I was in the Navy back then. I was on a submarine. And I was on a nuclear power submarine. That's the only kind of submarines they had back then that I knew of, but I was on one of them. And this is a story about an accident we had. So here we go. And bear with me, guys, because it's going to be emotional for me. But anyway, we were down in the reactor room one day, and we were down deep in the ocean, and everything seemed to be going fine until we had a alarm go off. It was a simple alarm, but the main feed booster pump that sent coolant water into the reactors locked up. But the problem was it locked up in the closed position, almost closed. I mean, there just wasn't enough water to get there for anything. So the alarm went off, and there's no big deal. There's 3 alarms that goes off, and this is just letting you know what the problem is. But anyway, the reactor started getting hot and hotter and hotter. Then the second alarm went off. Now that second alarm meant all non-essential personnel get out and close the door behind them and don't come back in. So I was a non-essential person, so I left and I got out of there. But my best buddy, he was essential, so he had to stay in there. So we're sitting there watching through the window at these guys, and they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to get that reactor cooled down. Well, then the second alarm, or the third alarm happened. And when that third alarm goes off, that means you dog that door down and nobody's going in and nobody's coming out. That's not good news. Well, anyway, they're running around trying to get that thing going off, and the temperature's jumping up like a microwave in there, man. I mean, it's getting terribly hot in there. It's like 150 degrees. Well, then all of a sudden, the top of that reactor blew off, man. I mean, that reactor was cherry red, man, and the top of that thing blew off. Excuse me. And there was guys up on top of that reactor, man. And when that thing blew off, they had plutonium rods shoot right up through their chest, man, and impaled them up on the overhead. It was a horrible sight, man. I mean, their meat was boiling off their bones, man. But we couldn't take our eyes off of it, man. We were sitting there watching it go down. And their skin was bubbling, man. I mean, it was mutating. I don't know what kind of stuff was coming out, but it didn't look human, man. So I started looking around for my friend. The radiation was going off the charts, man. And I'm looking, where's he at? And there he was. I saw him crawling across the floor, half his clothes burnt off his body. I mean, he had boils and mutations coming up off the back of his back, man, and he had boils busting open on his legs. He was done, man, and I knew it. And I know he knew it too. But he crawled over towards the window. He looked at me and I looked at him, and he come crawling to the door. And you could just see him on the other side crawling up, trying to lift himself up on that door to look through that window. And finally he got up there. Temperature was like 180 degrees in there, and he looked at me. And his eyes still had life in them, man. And boils started coming out of his face, and knots and stuff started growing out of his face. And there was a big old knot that started coming out of his forehead about right there. Just hang on, guys. But that knot grew out, And a hand grew out of his forehead, man. And he looked at me and I looked at him and he waved goodbye to me 3 times. Then he faded away. Guys, I gotta take a break here. I gotta take a break. Please.